Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to present an article entitled as The Design and Implementations of a Performance Measurement System to Pursue School Excellence. We use the integrations of Indonesian National Accreditation Standard and Baldrige Education Criteria. I'm Yenny Sari, and my research teams are Mr. Rosyawan and Mr. RB. We are lecturers from Industrial Engineering Department, University of Surabaya, would like to present this article for ISIEM 2020. A preliminary study was done towards several high school institutions around 10 cities in East Java, Indonesia. And we find out that most of them have been certified by ISO 9001 and have excellent accreditation level from national accreditation body. But they are mainly getting stuck in working on documents and maintaining the procedural processes. Some of them might neglect the achievement of their school visions of targets. We argue that excellent performance is an important thing to do to sustain their school success. Various performance excellence models have been used worldwide, such as Malcolm Baldrige's National Quality Award, or we known as MBNQA, European Foundation for Quality Management, or we known as AFQM. International standards such as ISO 9001 and 9004 are familiar to those high school. Here come the research questions. After being certified by ISO 9001 and accredited with the excellent level achievement, what else a school can do to achieve excellent performance? So that's why the purpose of this research is to develop a self-assessment model. We will design a conceptual model that can be used by schools to do their self-assessment. We derive them from two criteria, two standards. One is Indonesian's National Accreditation Standard for high schools, and another one is worldwide standard we know as Malcolm Baldrige or Baldrige Special Editions for Educations. The strength of MBNQA or Malcolm Baldrige is it can identify the factor of people, culture, and organizational values that cannot be fully captured by models such as ISO 9001 or National Accreditation Standard. Then the assessment developed into an application software. The usage of the software can reduce time as well as help the school to find their strengths and weaknesses so the school can formulate the corrective actions accordingly. Our research methodology comprises of 6 steps. First, we are doing the cross-check model analysis. We are trying to evaluate each instrument. Then, based on that evaluations, we design the conceptual model and turn it into an application software, and we call the software as KiSekul. KiSekul in Indonesian words is Indonesian words is Kinerja Sekolah Unggul, or excellent performance for schools. After we design the software, the application software, we will use the software to implement into school. The results will be evaluated and compared and used to improve the application software. So the application software will improve from the version 1 into the second versions. This is the results of the first one. We do the cross-check analysis between Indonesian National Accreditation Standard and Baldrige framework. This is the criteria in National Accreditation Standard. It consists of 8 standards with 165 items for measurement. Baldrige framework consists of 7 criteria. We can see here: leadership, strategic planning, customer focus, measurement, analysis, knowledge management, operations focus, workforce focus, and results, which comprise of 90 measurement items. We find out that Indonesian National Accreditation Standard focus on criteria 6 of Baldrige. It's above 55%. If we see that, we can find out that Indonesian National Accreditation Standard for high school was focusing on operations. And the top 3 highest is, besides operation, is workforce and research. From here, from this analysis, we find out that if the school only implemented national accreditation standard, they might lack of these 4 factors: leadership, strategic planning, for customer focus, and measurement analysis and knowledge management. To be more detailed, we can see that the distributions of the national accreditation standard among the criteria and the sub-criteria, and we find out that almost no items in accreditation standard discussing about these 3 sub-criteria. First of the customer focus, and workforce focus. Meanwhile, we can see that national accreditation standard for Indonesian high school, many measurement was discussing about how to manage the work process and manage the financial problems or my financial results. Then we designed the conceptual model. We named it as KiSekul first version. The evaluation points was expanded from 165 items that we maintain from the national accreditation standard, and we add 37 new items that derive from Baldrige into total 202 items. The new items were added to close the gaps. We find out in the previous explanation that if we use the national accreditation standard only, there are some gaps. There are lack of the leadership focus, customer focus, or measurement focus, or even strategic planning focus. The evaluations methods for the proposed instrument was using the multiple choice questions that we maintain the same as previously used in national accreditation standard. We assume that Indonesian high school as the potential users are already familiar with it. This is the design, the example of the questions. This is the explanations of the criteria, and this is the options for the questions. If the school answer with A, they will get the highest score, while the school answer with E, they will get the lower scores. This is also the link, the online link that can be used by the school to have the self-assessment questionnaire or applications. Then the application software are implemented into two schools. This is the object of our research. The first is SMAN 15 and the second is MAN. This is the 202 items distributed into 7 criteria of Baldrige. We use the Baldrige criteria as the foundations. And then we find this is the score for every criteria for each school. And this is the total score. We find out that MAN are reaching the stage of word reader, and SMAN 15 was reaching the benchmark leader stage. The measurement into two scores can also use for comparison, such as SMAN 15 have a lower score of customer focus. It can learn from other schools that have a better score. SMAN 15 can do a school visit or benchmarking visits by learning how MAN school do in customer focus, and then they can pick the best practice to implement in their school to improve their score. This is how the assessment help the school to improve themselves. And then after implementing the first versions, we get several feedback, and we use that for improvement into our application software. First, we are reducing the evaluation points. We try to simplify the questions, and we're also using the qualitative measurement. In the first editions or first version of KiSekul, we only using the quantitative questions. School is asking the questions, and then they choose the multiple choice, and then they get the score. In the second versions, they need to add some qualitative information so people can judge how they get the score by reading the explanations of the proof that they write in the qualitative informations. The improved assessment model then redesigned into KiSekul second versions resulted on the reductions of evaluation point from 202 into 96 points or 96 measurement items. That's all. Here are the conclusions. The design of the self-assessment model can use to identify the maturity level of every school, high school. The design model integrated two models. The first one is worldwide known model, Baldrige Education Criteria, and then the second one is a local content based, i.e. our Indonesian National Accreditation Standard. Then the assessment was built into an application software called as KiSekul. The usage of the Applications can give mutual benefit for school and also for the accreditation body, so they can use the information